The Leafs tweaked their lineup ahead of a crucial Game 6 against the Ottawa Sens. We're checking in with the experts and the fans in Toronto tonight.
And one day after criticizing judges, the Premier and his party doubled down on their tough on crime approach. We're going to tell you more about the justice legislation tabled today.
And could it be a great Canadian retail story? Hudson's Bay has reportedly attracted a bid from Canadian Tire. We're going to take a look at what that could mean for Canada's oldest retailer.
And we're getting a sneak peek of next month's Pride Festival. Plus, organizers, they've announced this year's theme.
You're watching Live at 5.
Good evening. I'm Bakari Savage.
And I'm Lena Latafat. Thanks for joining us and welcome to Live at 5. A wet evening, but it's not dampening the spirits of Leafs fans ahead of Game 6 of the Battle of Ontario.
Okay, so here's a live look inside the tunnel outside Scotiabank Arena. Maple Leaf Square, which is just opening for fans to watch the game on the big screen outside the arena. The Leafs, they are in Ottawa with another chance to win the series tonight and avoid a winner-take-all game.
You just try to block all that stuff out. I mean, the main focus is on the guys in the room, is on the team, and just playing for one another. That's really all there is to it. All the outside noise, all that stuff. It's it just is what it is. It's not something that you really focus on really at all.
Live to CP24 is Beatrice Faisman now, who's been chatting with fans today to find out how they're feeling ahead of tonight's game. I mean, it's hard not to be nervous, Beatrice.
It's tough. It's tough not to be nervous. I mean, you heard Austin Matthews there looking calm, cool, and collected. The fans not feeling so calm and confident, though, Lena and Bakari. And the reason being, they've seen this movie before. The fans have seen this episode after episode, series after series. It's the ghosts of playoffs past, and the fans hoping they're not going to come back and haunt the Leafs tonight like they have before. I mean, when the Leafs were up 3-0 in this series, the fans were feeling pretty good. They hadn't seen this in a couple of decades. You saw a lot of these young fans never seeing it in their lifetimes. They're feeling pretty confident. And then Game 4 happened, went to overtime. Game 5 happened. The Leafs collapsed. And so now the fans starting to feel more and more nervous about what's to come, whether it's because the Sens have ramped up their game or the Leafs players have taken their foot off the gas. These fans, though, they still have got a lot of belief in these players, the perpetual optimists, the hopeful Leafs fans who think their guys can clinch the series tonight. Here's some fan reaction.
You know what? I'm feeling pretty good. We took care of Tampa in 6 back in 2020, so I think we can do it again this year. So I think everything's looking good so far.
To make it to the other Kachuk brother, we need to shut down the Ottawa big boys like Stutzla, Brady, even guys like on D, like Shabbat and Sanderson. If we get those guys shut down, we could potentially take this in a shutout.
As for the feeling here in Scotiabank Arena, it's starting to feel like a hometown game. Why? The tailgate parties are always fun. Then you've got the guys all in their Leafs gear. I mean, you guys still believe, right?
Oh, obviously. You got to keep that passion.
Yeah. What makes you still believe, even though they blew a 3-0 series, a lead in the series?
I just think, the team's so much more talented than Ottawa on paper at least. So, I think if they just show up, they'll be good to go and they'll be ready.
It's a matter of the Leafs players kind of taking relaxing a little bit and the Sens ramping it up?
Yeah, exactly. I think we got to come out of the gates hot, and that's how we're going to win. And if we don't do that, I don't think it's not going to be that easy. So, yeah, I don't know. We'll see.
Leafs fans, we've seen this movie before, haven't we?
We have, but I believe in them. I believe.
Why? Where do you find the belief when every season? I mean, hopefully not this season.
Lots of passion. Never giving up on the team. Never giving up. Never going to give up.
So the optimism prevails.
Yep, exactly.
What do they have to do tonight?
Just play hard. Go all at it. Don't give up. Be first on pucks. Win the battles. Don't stop skating. Positive energy, and that's it. You win the game.
You guys, the Leafs in 6 or Leafs in 7?
6, because if we go to 7, it's not going to be great. But you know what? We're been playing good hockey, so we'll see where that goes.
Yeah, Leafs don't like Game 7, do they? Neither do the fans.
No, not at all. Not at all.
How are the stress? How's the nerves tonight?
Keeping it calm. Whatever happens, but feeling good.
Calm?
I'm more calm than I was last game, so hopefully that means, that better performance today. Hopefully it translates. I don't know. I think I'm going insane though. Like, I don't know.
And last pulse check, feeling calm?
Yep, Leafs in 6. They're going to do it. They're going to do it.
6. Thanks, guys. Enjoy the game. The fans, they still believe, Lena and Bakari, believe it or not, they still have faith in this team after what's happened the last 2 games. Certainly the players believe they can do it, and they've got the fan support. Let's see if the Leafs can take this one home tonight and then go on to the other Tkachuk player, the other Tkachuk brother, and the Florida Panthers. Wouldn't that be nice?
All right, bringing us the voice of the fans, CP24's Pitches Basement. Thanks a lot. And a diehard Leafs fan in Davisville is hoping that the team's going to end the Battle of Ontario tonight.
Yeah, this house on Merton Street has been decked out with Leafs merchandise for the playoffs. Check this out. For 15 years, the homeowners have been showing their spirit and adding to their collection, holding out for a long Stanley Cup run.
Usually we have friends who come over and I pace. I'm a pacer. I'm a worrier. So, and also it's good to have friends so they kind of distract me. But if and when the Leafs score, we all run out with our Bud Light and we change the score. And if it's the other team, I usually send my husband out to do the walk of shame.
Well, we're just under 2 hours away from puck drop tonight in Ottawa, which is at 7 o'clock.
Now we're going to have lots more on that coming up. For now, it's 5:06, 9 degrees. You're watching Live at 5.
The Ford government is introducing sweeping justice legislation today, which includes bail reform and measures to support victims of human trafficking and intimate partner violence. We're going to take a closer look at this coming up with CP24's crime analyst, Steve Ryan.
Welcome back. Police have identified the victim of a fatal stabbing in the West End.
50-year-old Eligio Martinez Gomez was stabbed at the Queensway in Royal York. This was Sunday morning. He was rushed to a trauma center with critical injuries. That's where he later died.
And police say Gomez was in a motel room when he was stabbed. The suspect was arrested at the scene. 57-year-old Tanas Shmagranovsky is charged with second-degree murder. A motive for the stabbing isn't known.
And police are investigating a stabbing in North York.
A large crime scene was taped off on Harlandale Avenue near Yonge and Shepherd. Officers responded to the scene around 8 o'clock this morning, where they found a man with serious stab wounds. Paramedics tell CP24 he is expected to survive, and police say the suspect got away in a vehicle.
And police are also investigating after a man was seriously injured. This time, the stabbing happened in Cabbagetown. Police say it was in a common area of a residential building on Carlton Street near Parliament. It happened around 4:30 this morning. So paramedics say the victim was rushed to a trauma center, but is expected to survive. And they're looking for a suspect described as a white man in his 30s wearing a gray sweater. So anyone with information, you're asked to contact police or Crime Stoppers.
Paramedics took a man in his 50s to hospital after a stabbing near the Junction. Toronto police say they responded to the scene near DuPont and Campbell Avenue around 7:50 last night and found a man with a stab wound. His injuries described as serious but non-life-threatening. A suspect is in custody, and police tell us the suspect and victim, they were known to each other.
And police have made an arrest after a cyclist was attacked with a shopping cart. This happened in the city's East End Tuesday.
Yeah, this video is shocking. The incident, captured on security camera video, shows a man shoving a shopping cart into the path of an e-bike rider in a bike lane on Danforth near Monarch Park. The victim was later taken to hospital, but he is expected to recover. A 47-year-old man is facing a number of charges, including assault with a weapon, that shopping cart being the weapon, and assault causing bodily harm.
And the Ford government tabled sweeping justice legislation today.
Yeah, this bill is called the Protect Ontario Through Safer Streets and Stronger Communities Act. It includes measures to make it easier to obtain restraining orders against domestic violence cases, along with support for victims. It would also allow police to more easily seize electronic devices used to commit auto theft.
If passed, the Protect Ontario Through Safer Streets and Stronger Communities Act will improve the efficiency of our courts and help stop the revolving door-style criminal activity that puts people at risk. We're making historic changes that would improve capacity and efficiency in the court system, introducing stronger measures to hold offenders accountable, and helping fight crime. These tough-on-crime measures are putting violent repeat offenders on notice, and we will continue doing whatever it takes to protect Ontario.
And the province is also planning to study how it can introduce involuntary addictions treatment for people in jail on probation or on parole. The intent is to supply cabinet with a plan and options by this fall. Health Minister Sylvia Jones says they need to make sure that any programs that are brought forward are actually going to help people. Advocates have long opposed involuntary treatment, saying that treatment is significantly more successful when someone's ready to quit.
And the legislation package tabled today was overshadowed by Premier Doug Ford's comments yesterday that judges should be elected. Critics say that undermines confidence in the justice system. Attorney General Doug Downey was questioned about the Premier's remarks. Listen.
Look, everybody knows that judicial independence is a bedrock in a democracy, but the level of frustration that constituents and that the people that we serve have boils over into ways that we need to acknowledge and we need to do something about. We need to go after these repeat and violent offenders, and whatever tools we have to do, we need to use.
Opposition leaders continue to grill the Ford government over the Premier's comments about Ontario's judges.
Nobody is asking for this. It's outrageous, it's dangerous, and it's inconsistent with where we are as Canadians and what we want to see in our judicial system. We want a neutral judicial system. We don't want political interference in our judicial system, and nobody's asking for that. I mean, this was the Premier just trying to distract again from what's really happening in the province. What are people concerned about? What I hear people concerned about is the fact that they're going to lose their jobs, that our economy is going to tank, that a report came out just yesterday from the government's own Financial Accountability Office saying we are heading into a recession, and I have yet to see a plan from this government as to what they're going to do to prevent the loss of jobs.
The Premier is trying to take a page out of Donald Trump's playbook, and we're here to say that we will never become the Maple MAGA. So we know that judges don't exist to serve politicians or political agendas. They're here to uphold the law, and that's the difference. They're independent for a reason, and that is that they're going to protect our democracy
Mayor Olivia Chow says she has faith in the courts and the rule of law as the battle over bike lanes continues to be an issue.
I take what the court make decisions on, and is the decision, well, let's look at this project. It went to tribunal, and then it was appeal, and then it went, there was even more appeal, then it went to court, and then won at court. At the end of the day, after several appeals, it's here. So I trust that at the end of the day, the right decisions will get made.
And for more reaction to the justice legislation, let's bring in CP24's crime analyst, Steve Ryan. Steve, lots to unpack here. Let me begin with the Premier's controversial remarks. Just yesterday, he suggested that judges in Ontario should be elected, not appointed. And as we heard from all the opposition leaders, that's not sitting well with a lot of people in this province.
Yeah, I think it's a slippery slope. We want our judges to have autonomy, and they make their decisions based on the law. And if there's error made in law, well, there is appeals that you can make to the province and to the Supreme Court if they'll listen to your case. Having judges elected really kind of hints at the judges making decisions based on what the public sentiment is. And you don't want judges making a decision as to the guilt or innocence of somebody just because the public feels one way or the other. They need their autonomy, and as the AG said there, this was set out of frustration. I can get that, but yeah, we don't want our judges elected. That's for sure.
See, what about the provision for domestic violence in this?
Well, anything that you can do to step up safeguards and support services for those who are victims of domestic violence, it's a benefit. So good for the province for recognizing the importance and the significance and the problem that we have with domestic violence, with partner on partner, past partners assaulting other partners or committing murders. So it's good that the province recognizes this and they're putting more systems in place to help those who are victims of that terrible crime.
Now I want to talk about the bail piece of this. You know, there's been so much rhetoric around bail reform. We've heard the federal Conservatives talk about it. Mark Carney's talked about it, and the PCs have been talking about it for quite some time. Can you help us separate rhetoric from reality when it comes to bail reform?
So there is a lot of really good things in place right now when it comes to bail. The Crown can seek a detention order, the protection of the public. So if it is a violent offense and the Crown's case is strong, they can ask the court to detain that person. If the person has committed multiple of the same offense, the Crown could to stop the repetition of the offense, seek a detention order on those grounds. If somebody fails to go to court once or twice or 3 times, the Crown can say to the court, detain this person because there's no guarantee that they're going to go to court. That's not being done. Most people now are being released. And it goes more to the spirit of the philosophy of our judicial system when it comes to Corrections Canada, and that is that most people charged are better served reintegrated into the community to be rehabilitated as opposed to keeping them behind bars. So at some point in time, public safety is taking a backseat to this philosophy. That's where it has to change. The systems are in place for people to be kept in custody if they meet those conditions that I just explained to you.
So do we, I'm just going to jump in here, do we need more legislation around bail, Steve?
I don't think we need more legislation. We just need the legislation that's there to be enforced. And it's subjective. So one of the things that the government is bringing in is the Crowns are going to have dedicated times to present bails with regards to violent offenses. But you could have the best case presented to a justice of the peace or a judge in bail. It's subjective. If that judge believes in the philosophy that this person charged is better served in the community, they're going to be released into the community.
All right. We'll continue the conversation next half hour. CP24's crime analyst, Steve Ryan. Thanks a lot, Steve. Right now it's 5:17, 9 degrees. This is Live at 5.
Coming up after the break, we'll take you to Ottawa to get the other side of the Battle of Ontario ahead of Game 6. Hours away from puck drop now. We'll be right back.
All right, back to our top story. We're less than 2 hours away from the puck dropping on Game 6 of the Leafs versus Senators.
The Leafs are playing on the road in Ottawa tonight, and for more on the other side of this Battle of Ontario, we go live to CTV Ottawa's Katie Griffin. Thanks for joining us tonight, Katie. How are Sens fans feeling about tonight's match?
You know what? They're feeling pretty good. They're feeling pretty great compared to a couple of days ago. Let's say there's a lot of excitement, a lot of optimism in this city. And where I'm standing is on Sens Mile. So it's several blocks of a downtown street dedicated and renamed for this playoff run as it has been in the past as Sens Mile. And this is really where fans are going to be gathering. We're still a little further away from puck drop, so not a ton of people out just yet, but there are people walking around in their jerseys. Have seen a couple of Leafs jerseys, but the majority, I would say, that I've seen so far would be Sens fans, and they are going to be absolutely packing the restaurants and bars down here. People I've been speaking to have said that if you don't have a reservation, you're probably going to be out of luck. Now, not the best weather right now. It did just start to rain, but that's not going to be dampening the spirits of these Sens fans. They want this for the team. They want this for the city, and that's really even what the Sens captain had said, that it's not just about the team. They want to do this for the city. They've proven that they can come back, and so they are hoping that they're going to win tonight and force that Game 7.
Hey, Katie, you mentioned part of my next question. Talk about how the city comes alive, especially in this Game 6, and the effect on bars and restaurants in the area.
Absolutely. It's a huge boost. Again, if you don't have a reservation, you might be out of luck. Places are filling up quickly, and it's a real boost for this street, but the city in general, and people not just spending money in the bars and restaurants, but also there's a push to shop local. It's not just restaurants on this street. And so a lot of people are coming out to support their team instead of just watching at home. We also have the Red Zone at the Canadian Tire Centre. So people, even if you don't have a ticket, you can go and you can watch there. They've put up big screen TVs so that people can just take in that exciting atmosphere. And I talked a little bit about the optimism. One of my colleagues actually went for a tarot card reading, and 2 out of the 3 cards were pretty good. So we're going to focus on that. Obviously, we don't have a crystal ball as to what is going to happen tonight, but there is certainly a lot of excitement in this city.
Okay, really, really quickly, we're from Toronto, so I have to ask, have you seen any Leafs fans where you are tonight, Katie?
Yes, I have seen a couple. Again, the majority are Sens fans, of course, but there is a big Toronto fan base here as well. There is a bar right across the street from where I'm standing, actually, that does not allow Leafs fans in at all. They've said that they've done this. This is not new. They've done this for several years now, that if you're wearing a Leafs jersey, if you're a Leafs fan, you can't come in. You can't make that reservation. And the co-owner was telling us earlier that, you know, some of them are a little annoyed and a little upset about that, but other people go, yeah, okay, we understand.
Wow, that's real tough.
That is. All right, CTV's Katie Griffin live in Ottawa for us.
Tough
Thanks
love.
so much. Yeah, my goodness.
Thanks, Katie.
Well, Canadian Tire is reportedly bidding for some of Hudson's Bay's assets as the company continues liquidating all of its stores across the country.
CP24's Lindsay Biscaya joins us live from the newsroom with the latest. Lindsay.
Yeah, so we've got a couple of sources. Lena Bakari confirming that Canadian Tire has, in fact, put in a bid to get some of the intellectual property from Hudson's Bay. Obviously, a little bit of a glimmer of hope for Hudson's Bay, who, as we know, the company now liquidating the rest of its stores. So this whole idea to sell off some of its intellectual assets as part of the creditor protection plan for the company after it filed for bankruptcy. So we know that anyone who was interested in bidding on that had until 5 p.m. yesterday. And again, we've got sources now confirming that Canadian Tire is one of the main companies who has put in an offer. A couple of others as well. We know a Toronto investment firm has also apparently bid on intellectual property from Hudson's Bay, and a billionaire BC Mall owner, not quite bidding on intellectual property exactly, but has said that she wants to run some of the Hudson's Bay stores to keep that store alive. So a lot of interest, it seems, in Hudson's Bay and some of its assets. And we spoke with retail analyst Bruce Winder today about what that could look like. Take a listen.
It's either done where they have a little store within a store and a Canadian Tire shop or a Mark shop or a Sport Check shop, or what they do is they take the brand and they develop it and they sort of sprinkle it across assortments within different categories across the different banners. So it could go either way, either store within a store or, just products within different assortments.
So it will be interesting to see who ends up with the iconic logo and Hudson's Bay stripes. Also something to note, Lena Bakari, the deadline, Hudson's Bay also bidding off some of its leases for some of its stores and for its sister stores, Saks. And the deadline for that is some point tonight. So we'll have to wait and see what happens there. Back to you.
Okay. Reporting live from the newsroom, CP24's Lindsay Biscaya. Lindsay, thank you very much. It's 5:25, 9 degrees. This is Live at 5.
Well, we are getting a preview of next month's Pride Festival, and organizers have announced this year's theme. We'll tell you what that is coming up. Pride Toronto is giving us a preview of next month's festival.
The theme is All In. It was unveiled at an event at the CN Tower this morning, and organizers say that All In is a call to come together and stand united at a time when the community is facing new challenges both at home and around the world. The Toronto Pride Festival is the second largest Pride celebration in the world. More than 3 million people attended last year's festival.
Pride is an opportunity to celebrate the 2S LGBTQ community. So they're going to be an amazing lineup of artists, curators, DJs, just to bring life into the city of Toronto's 2S LGBTQ community. But it's also an opportunity for us to remind the world that there are still members of the 2S LGBTQ community that are not free.
And while there are Pride events held throughout the entire month of June, Pride Festival weekend, that kicks off June 26th and wraps up with the Pride Parade on Sunday, and that's June 29th.
Right now it's 5:29, 9 degrees. This is Live at 5.
The Leafs will try to eliminate the Senators tonight on the road and avoid a Game 7. We're going to hear from some nervous fans coming up. They say they're not panicking, though. More on that coming up.
The Leafs tweaked their lineup ahead of a crucial Game 6 against the Ottawa Sens. Puck drop is in about an hour and a half. We're checking in with the experts and fans tonight in Toronto.
And one day after lashing out at judges, the Premier and his party doubled down on their tough-on-crime approach. We'll tell you more about the justice legislation tabled today.
And could it be a great Canadian retail story? Hudson's Bay has reportedly attracted a bid from Canadian Tire. We're going to take a look at what that could mean for Canada's oldest retailer.
Plus, we are getting a sneak peek of next month's Pride Festival, and organizers, they're telling us more about this year's theme.
This is Live at 5.
Good evening, and thank you for joining us. I'm Lena Ladifat.
And I'm Bakari Savage. A wet evening, but it's not dampening the spirits of Leafs fans. This is ahead of Game 6 in the Battle of Ontario.
This is a live look tonight inside the tunnel outside Scotiabank Arena, Maple Leaf Square, which is just opening for fans to watch the game on the big screen outside the arena. The Leafs are in Ottawa with another chance to win the series tonight and avoid a winner-take-all Game 7.
Just try to stay as even-keeled as you possibly can. I mean, naturally there's highs and lows and life and playoffs and all that stuff. But I think just resetting each day, staying focused, staying committed. It's never going to be easy. It's not going to be a perfect day every single day. So just trying to fight through that and just go out there and give your best effort. And like I said, just doing it for the guys in the room, competing for one another.
It's a scenario, right? Like every organization, every situation is completely different. All the best teams seem to go through adversity and handle it the right way. And there's a little bit of adversity here, and it's going to be a big test for our group, and I'm really looking forward to it.
We're feeling fine. I mean, that's the way a series goes, and we know that we've been in the series before, so it just is what it is.
What has to change tonight to kind of get you back on the right track?
I just think we just got to, be aggressive and, stick to our game.
Here we go.
All right now we're going to go live to CP24's Beatrice Vaisman. Beatrice, you've done a great job of bringing us the voice of the fans and even sharing a little bit of your game superstition with us.
Yeah, I mean, this is my lucky scarf, Bakari. I wore it in a Game 4 about 5 years ago. The Leafs won here at home. I'm hoping I don't have to use it to dry my eyes tonight. No, this is the lucky scarf. This guy, I just met him. Look at this. This is the lucky jacket as well. With the, I think this is the last year the Leafs won the Cup. You think they got it this year?
Yeah, we're going to restitch it this year when we win the Cup.
You're going to add 2025 to that?
Yeah, of course.
Why do you still believe?
You know what? This team's different. We did some additions in the offseason. We got an amazing coach. I know we don't have the best record in closeout games, but if the Leafs want it, they got to fight for it. And we already know the next step is Florida. And we've had our battle with Florida. And if we want it, we got to go through them. So we're going to make it different, and we got to bring Stanley home.
We got to take down one Tkachuk brother to get to the other one, right?
Yeah, we're going to prepare ourselves.
Yeah, hang out from here. Tell me about your feeling tonight. I mean, the Leafs blew a 3-0 lead in this series, and here we are in Game 6. How are you feeling?
Yeah, so I was at the Square last game, and that was depressing. That was the most rough thing. I wasted my 3 hours over there. I did not come back here to do that again. Today's in it. Today's our Game 7. We have one chance, and it's today.
Yeah, even in the rain, you're going to do this.
Rain, yeah. Nah, it's Leafs.
Face paint dripping down your face.
Oh, yeah. We got the pride, the Go Blue glow.
Yeah. What was it like? I mean, when they lost last time, not only lost, but they were shut out here at home. Yeah.
It was quiet. No one said anything. We kind of just all stood there, heads down. But we walked out, heads down, shoulders down, no smile. But today's a new day, new team. I think we're going to play better. Craig said a good pre-game lineup speech, so it's going to be good.
A little pep talk from the coach. Tell me about the nerves from the fans. We've all seen this movie before. It's deja vu. It's Groundhog Day. How do we make sure it's not that?
I think it's a new team, and the energy is definitely there. I mean, all the guys, we believe in it. We believe in the team, and it's part of being in Leafs Nation. You gotta believe. You gotta be Leaf.
Where does that belief come from, though, after so many years of disappointments? And hopefully this year is not like the others. I mean, we all still hold out hope. The eternal optimists.
It's a new year. God gave us a new year, and we gotta take it. We have not a lot of opportunities left. Marner and Tavares, they could be gone, right? So this is it. I'm excited to be out there, even in the rain. I got my poncho here. My mom gave me.
Yeah.
Shout out, Mom. Thank you. I really appreciate it.
Poncho out too. Thanks to his mom.
Yeah. No poncho?
I got no poncho. Mom didn't give me nothing.
It's okay. You got this beautiful jacket. And again, let's hope we can add 2025 right here. Right? Let's get a Go Leafs go.
Go Leafs go.
There you go. Fan energy here at Scotiabank Arena. Thanks, guys. Have so much fun. I mean, certainly the fans are going to be cheering on. Take care, guys. Cheering on the Leafs as if they were playing here at home as they take on the Sens in the nation's capital. Let's hope we can take them down and just finish us off, and then we can head off to Florida.
Maybe your lucky scarf will make all the difference, Beatrice.
Yeah, right. Bring home the W
I
for
think
B.
so.
Get it?
I believe.
W.
Let's do it. Let's do it, baby. Let's do it.
All right. I like your enthusiasm. Beatrice Vaisman, we'll check in soon. Thanks so much. We've spoken with the fans. Now let's check in with the experts. TSN's Mark Masters. He was in Ottawa today speaking to us about how the Leafs are coping with the pressure. And there is a lot of that ahead of this crucial game.
It's impossible for them to ignore what's happened, right? All of these guys that have been here in the past and have gone 1-13 in the games where they've had a chance to close out a series, It's hard to ignore that. It's hard not to think about what's happened before as you go into a similar situation here. They've only once won a playoff series, and they've squandered so many opportunities over the years. So that's the mental thing, right? And they have a new coach this year, Craig Berube. He's a Stanley Cup champion coach, and he's just been hammering home to them that all you have to focus on is each other. He feels like the atmosphere and the mood around the team is very business-like. They just want to get to puck drop tonight.
And TSN radio host Matt Koss says that the Leafs need more offensive production from their biggest stars if they want to finally put away the Senators.
The Maple Leafs have great goaltending. The Maple Leafs have had excellent defense all year. They're not scoring goals. So the mental side of it is these guys have to be wondering. Their identity is dynamic offensive play. We don't usually see that this time of year. So I think, the mental side is a big one. And I wonder, are they confused? Are they angry? Are they insecure? No one has any idea, but there's so much stakes on these players.
I'd be surprised if they change much of anything in the lineup. You're still up 3-2 right now is the big picture. But if tonight goes the Senators' way, I can't see a world where there is not pure panic in the Toronto area. Good thing is the Leafs have Craig Berube, who's a Stanley Cup winning coach. He's been through an entire playoff run. He knows how to deal with the ups and downs. And if you're a Leafs fan, that has to give you some form of confidence.
And a diehard Leafs fan in Davisville is hoping the team will end the Battle of Ontario tonight.
So this house, it's on Merton Street. It's been decked out with Leafs merchandise for the playoffs. For 15 years, the homeowners have been showing their spirit and adding to their collection, holding out for a long Stanley Cup run.
They're making us hold out. And I think being in Ottawa, they won't have that pressure of being in the city with all the fans around them. They won't be as distracted. And we just need them to bring it home. I do not want to do another Game 7. Please.
Puck drop on tonight's game from Ottawa is at 7 o'clock, about an hour and a half to go.
Right now, it is 5:39, 9 degrees. This is Live at 5.
The Ford government is introducing sweeping justice legislation today, which includes bail reform and measures to support victims of human trafficking and intimate partner violence. We're going to take a closer look next.
The Ford government tabled sweeping justice legislation today.
The bill is called the Protect Ontario Through Safer Streets and Stronger Communities Act. It includes measures to make it easier to obtain restraining orders against domestic violence cases, along with support for victims. It would also allow police to more easily seize electronic devices used to commit auto theft.
The measures that we are introducing today build on our 4-year action plan to end gender-based violence, providing stronger supports for victims and survivors. And we are taking further steps by renewing our anti-human trafficking strategy for another 5 years.
And the province is also planning to study how it can introduce involuntary addictions treatment for people in jail, on probation, and on parole. The intent, it's to supply cabinet with a plan and options by this fall. Health Minister Sylvia Jones says that they need to make sure that any programs that are brought forward are actually going to help people. Advocates have long opposed involuntary treatment, saying that treatment is significantly more successful when someone's actually ready to quit.
All right, and for more reaction to the justice legislation, let's bring in CP24's crime analyst, Steve Ryan. Steve, more backlash today over the Premier's comments yesterday suggesting that we should consider electing judges, not appointing them. Lots of people have said that is problematic. I want you to tell me why that is.
Yeah, well, it is a slippery slope because you want your judges to have autonomy. You want them to make decisions, guilt or innocence, based on the law and not be concerned about public sentiment. And if you have judges that are elected, you run that risk of having them consider what the public is feeling about a case that they are, in fact, the trier of fact. So it's a slippery slope, and I think we prefer to have our judges appointed as opposed to elected.
See, how is input from law enforcement taken into consideration with things like this?
Well, with this government, I can tell you that the law enforcement has plenty of input, and the Ford government listens to what law enforcement has to say, which is a good thing if you are out there, fighting crime for the better of the community. But the fact remains that with bail, the province is limited as to what they can do. There's already a system in place. There's already provisions in place in the bail system to keep people in custody. They're not being kept in custody most often because our jails are too crowded and our jails aren't in good condition. So a lot of the JPs and judges are hesitant to put somebody in custody because they're only charged with an offense, remember, they're not convicted. So maybe the solution is build more jails, and that will have the capacity to keep people who should remain in custody as opposed to releasing them out to the public.
Part of this legislation includes more protections from those who face intimate partner violence. That's something you've seen on the job for so many years. What do you think of that?
Yeah, well, I think that's fantastic. Anytime you can add any sort of support and resources to victims of sexual assault, human trafficking, or domestic violence, it's a win all around. And on that same note, the Ford government wants to enforce taking the deposits from sureties who put money up for people to be bailed out. As a surety, you're responsible for keeping that person in line with their recognizance. If they fail that, the spirit of this law is that your money should be taken from you, the deposit that you put up. But that's not happening right now. So this is what the government wants to do to maybe make it more of a challenge and with consequences if, in fact, a surety fails to keep a person within the conditions that they're supposed to keep.
Okay, Steve, what is your overall take on this legislation?
Well, I think it's the intent is good. The intent is good. There's a lot of good things in this legislation to make communities safer, 100%. But if we go back to bail, the provisions are already in place when it comes to bail. There is nothing new that needs to be done. There are provisions in place for serious offenses. If the Crown's case is strong, stay in custody. You commit the same offense over and over again, repetition of the offense, stay in custody. If you fail to attend court when you're supposed to or abide by your conditions, you stay in custody. Those things are already there, but the JPs and judges are hesitant to keep people in custody because of the fact that I am told that the jails are too crowded and they're not in very good working condition.
All right, Steve, good to get your perspective on this. Thanks so much.
Sure.
It's 5:46 now, 9 degrees. You're watching Live at 5.
Well, coming up, we continue our coverage of the election results. We're going to be joined by former NDP MPP Hudson to talk about his brother stepping down as party leader. The Liberal parliamentary leader poked fun at a feud involving Premier Ford and a Conservative MP during question period today.
My question's for the Premier. But before I get started, Premier, I saw your picture on Twitter yesterday. I love your shirt. And I always knew deep down you wanted to be just like me.
So this is the photo John Fraser was referencing, shared on social media by Jamil Javani. Javani, who's just reelected in Bowmanville, Oshawa North, called Ford a hype man for the Liberals during an interview with the CBC on election night and accused Ford of sabotaging the federal Conservatives. Ford has brushed off the criticism and said he's focused on unity.
Well, tomorrow, Prime Minister Mark Carney is going to hold his first news conference since winning the federal election.
Carney is set to speak at 11 a.m. in Ottawa, where he will outline the Liberal government's priorities and take questions from the media. He was elected on a platform largely focused on responding to U.S. threats and is expected to meet in person with President Trump as soon as next week. And the federal riding of Terrebonne in Quebec has gone from the Liberals' win column back to the Bloc Québécois after a post-election vote validation process. The Bloc candidate there, who's represented the riding since 2021, said in a social media post that she came out with a lead of 44 votes and that a judicial recount will take place.
Well, days after Monday's historic election, there are a number of questions about the NDP's future.
Yeah, not only will the party have to look for a new leader, it'll also have to figure out how to get a say in the House of Commons after losing official party status. For more on this, we're joined live by Gurratan Singh. He's a former NDP MPP and the brother of Jagmeet Singh, outgoing leader of the party. Gurratan, thanks so much for joining us. Look, I know it's been a tough week for you and for your family. Take us back to Monday night, if you can. What did your brother tell you and the rest of the family before getting up on that stage and announcing his resignation on Monday night? It must have been very emotional.
It was definitely a tough moment for sure. But leading up to the election, there's clear signs that there was a potential threat to the seat and a potential threat to the NDP overall. But even in those last minutes, when I would chat with my brother, he would talk about the things that he's able to use his power to fight for. Things like a national dental care program, pharmacare, $10 a day child care, anti-scab legislation, a national school food program, the list, 10 federal paid sick days, the list goes on and on and on. And so despite, the electoral results are not what we had hoped for, the fact that he uses power to help people is never about him. He always wanted to use his power to help individuals, help Canadians, help millions of Canadians so they can smile and have medication that they need and get the childcare that they need. That was something that in those moments he would reflect on, and that was something that made him, I think, happy about that legacy.
It has been said that this election was the worst electoral showing in the party's history. What do you think went wrong? And, was it the supply and confidence pact that Jagmeet Singh signed with the Liberals in 2022?
I think we look at the polling, and, as a political pundit, I get to see the polling live as I go on television all the time. Mm-hmm. It was clear that the NDP was polling pretty high, but when this X factor of Trump came forward, it really changed everything. It changed the dynamic across the board. Keep in mind the Conservatives had a 20-point lead, and they dropped down, and, what was expected by many to be a very easy election for them, they were not successful in. Pierre Poilievre lost his own seat. It was a very different election given this factor of Trump attacking our sovereignty. And I think that was the major factor. It was very hard to break into that conversation when there was this overriding fear of Trump annexing our nation, of throwing on these tariffs, of effectively engaging in economic war in our country.
Greta, not only are you looking at this as a family member, but you're also looking at this as a party insider. So I want to ask you where you think the party goes from here. And are you concerned that some NDP MPs could cross the floor and join the Liberals in the House of Commons?
When I look at the NDP MPs that were elected, they're very solid New Democrats. These are folks that have already, I make reference to Jenny Kwan, who was misquoted on an article and immediately went to Twitter and said she was a proud New Democrat and she's going to stand with New Democrats. Keep in mind that as New Democrats, we've been through tough periods before, but our focus has always been how can we help folks, even in the most desperate of times? And it's interesting because this is, once again, a minority government. And once again, the NDP is one of the parties that has the balance of power in this context. So I think there's a more opportunities, once again, for the party to rebuild. I'm confident Canadians recognize that New Democrats brought in our healthcare system. Now, under Jagmeet Singh's previous leadership, it brought in dental care, laid the foundation for pharmacare, fought for child care, and so much more. So I think we look at the legacy of the NDP in Canada, there's this strong base of folks that recognize what this party fights for, and this is expansion of our social services to take care of folks. Yes, this election didn't provide the results that we hoped for, but I don't think the NDP is going anywhere. And give us enough time, and the party will rebuild. We'll have some tough conversations, but once again, be in a position, even now, to fight for the services that people so desperately need, especially given this affordability crisis that we're all facing.
Hudson Singh, former NDP MPP and current VP at Crestview Strategy. Thanks so much for making time for us here on Live at 5. Good to be with you.
An absolute pleasure. Thank you so much.
Right now it's 5:55, 9 degrees. This is Live at 5.
Well, we are looking at the clock, and it's almost an hour to go till the puck drops on Game 6 of the Battle of Ontario. This is a live shot of a pretty wet Maple Leaf Square. Stay with us for more. Actually, that's a live shot from Ottawa. We'll be right back. All right, we want to take you live to Maple Leaf Square now. In fact, we're going to take you live to Real Sports now, where some Leaf fans are watching Game 6. Sija Liu has more on that. Sija.
Lena Bakari, just under an hour to go until puck drop, and Maple Leafs are hoping that this is not going to be the same old story, that the Leafs can pull through in playoffs despite not getting far with their 3-0 lead. But let's talk to fans to see how they're feeling ahead of tonight's game. I have Grant and Colin with me. They came all the way from Scotland just to watch the Leafs. And guys, you've traveled thousands of miles just to see the Leafs. How are you feeling going into tonight?
Very nervous. The last performance wasn't brilliant, so hopefully we'll see a big upturn tonight and see a good reaction.
Now, the Leafs are known for not doing too well in the playoffs, and this time around, not looking great so far. Are you optimistic that they can turn it around?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's probably going to be double overtime or something like that, just to make it extra painful. But, yeah, Leafs in 6.
So you're wearing an Austin Matthews jersey and a Nylander jersey. The core four hasn't been doing so well, but hopefully they can turn things around. Thanks so much, guys. And we'll send it back to you now. Leafs fans really hoping that they can send the Senators packing tonight. Back to you.
Thanks so much, and let's see if we can get you another live shot from Maple Leaf Square. It's wet there, but some really excited yet nervous fans are going to be watching Game 6 very closely.